Good morning. Yeah, we
good
just
morning.
Yeah, good morning.
In Budapest. We're here in our TV garden.
Yeah, hello from Studio Nova Gorica. This is a studio outside. It's real. The nature is around me. So yeah. Hello.
Also have it here.
Yeah, so we are here in our studio in Budapest. It was founded 2 years ago with the TVFE Europe.
So hello everybody, welcome. And I'm super happy to have you here. We are so many in this beautiful room in Budapest of the House of the Metal and Iron Union. And I'm so glad that we are also joined from people overseas through the whole round TV. I hope you have good visions.
Hello to the north.
Oh, hello. Yeah, hello. It's this Game of Thrones language. I'm the north.
We are all on the same side.
Yes, hello, hello. This is Tårnby Park Studio. I have a fake background. It's not possible otherwise. But you see the wonderful yellow studio in the background where we were driving this project from. Actually, was it not 2 years, Jasna?
It's a year and a half at least.
Yeah, we really cooperated with a virus prolonging everything.
Yes. Yeah, it started with the virus, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Everything started with the virus.
And then we have still in the round participant from Studio Nova Gorica. Can I say shortly hello to Kostja?
Hello. Yeah.
How is your situation over there?
I guess all things considered, it's pretty okay for a while. The concerning part is what will come, let's say.
And in few minutes, we close the year and we start a new one. And I'm really curious what comes out of it and if it changes anything, actually. Because I have to tell you that we've been thinking about it a lot in the past 2 years. We've been researching and we have developed a new performative technology. This is a telepathy machine that enabled us to go back around 30 years in time and to see if we get any answers, any inspiration, any questions, any good thoughts and potentials for today's crisis, because we are truly in crisis and we want to know how we can change that.
Hopefully we'll be able to do more proper studio shows in the future.
We invited also, as always, creative minds and distinguished experts from the former East and the former West to elaborate on these questions. So let's start already, and maybe you would start and present yourself and make the first statement, please.
No, I'm not really ready yet. I really don't understand also why we meet here with so many people. I don't think this is the end of the crisis anyway, and I mean, I think nothing is ready here. Announcing here last minute the live show, I am the in-director of this show actually. And yeah, I think like it was a very stressy working period. I work here with my friends. They turned into assholes because of the stress. Like we do the show together. He is one of the biggest assholes actually here.
Studio Nova Gorica was the first station where actually this project should start. And then the virus came and everything changed.
Since I believe I'm a multitude of beings, a network really, a network in myself, I feel like I'm many, but I also think that we all have the potential to be many, so don't worry. It's great that we gathered here tonight for this wonderful new beginning. It's gonna be great.
Okay, thank you. Because already this is a question for me, if we are really many. I mean, sometimes I really feel that I'm many because I have 3 jobs in this project, but I also many times feel that we can't look out of this bubble, this Faraday cage that we are in. We keep posting on the Facebook and all our friends like the post, but does it really help us to get over this system fatal and So this arrow, you know.
We were surprised how even deeper or how even more important the idea about a new kind of artistic television is.
We are facing growing illiberal regimes in the East, rise of xenophobia, homophobia. Just look at that new law that passed. You know what I mean. That underage kids are just not allowed to be educated about the LGBTQ community. It's like, yeah. And our everyday lives are taken over by the urgencies of communicative capitalism and semio-capitalism. And what we need really is visions and new beginnings.
Fuck your visions and your new beginnings. I really have enough of them. Like, I mean, what happened here? Your companies support the unfreedoms here. And there is a big penis is stuff in our bloody assholes. The imperialist penis is fucked in our region here in the East, and that's what happened after the system change. And you come with your Hippocratic freedoms. I can't take it anymore. We have to grab them out now. We have to grab the testicles and rip out this wrong input. And then we scream and we destroy the screens and we need another input. And the capitalistic, go into the black.
I pass again to Studio Budapest.
We can also restart. Yes,
Anyway,
maybe.
sometime I need to reboot.
Sorry, I also need to come into this thing here.
Early in the morning.
I can help you. I start from the north.
Yes.
All right. So, Tårnby Park Studio was a partner through this whole project, which has started about the idea of freedom. That came, and it was of course connected to the fall of the wall. And the funny thing to be connected with that topic from Denmark is that Denmark, it feels like it has always been the same, like in the last 100 years. And of course that's not true, but there is, you cannot sense a rupture that goes back to, for example, 89. For example, the place where Tårnby Park Studio is placed, Tårnby, has been ruled by the Social Democrats for the last 100 years. Yeah. So this is what you see. So you don't see this world kind of system change, world politics. That's something that is very absent. And the idea of freedom is also funny. I'm a foreigner in Denmark, and I think I experience it differently than the Danes, or than many Danes. But for me, in Denmark, freedom would mean something like changing things now. It's not that Denmark misses freedom, but maybe there was this stability for such a long time that you can feel that freedom would mean changing things that people have installed by their own will, but are now maybe like a little bit outdated or too stable.
Okay, I really like this audience, but I'm not sure that you are 100% ready to get into your new self, to your 2022 self. So I brought you a little liberating practice. It will be very easy to do.
As freedom, for me, connected to that project, had something to do with a real experimentation of the role of culture, of the role of art, of the role of live performance, especially together with the virus who anyway questioned what live performance is.
I would like to ask you to get rid of your bad memories from the last year, from your annoying thoughts, and also from some of your objects. So please look at your pockets, check your bags, and if you find something that you don't really need anymore, or something which could be symbolic for something bad you experienced in the last year, please give it to my colleague.
We were not really prepared to do so much online or TV program, but also we started to change this attitude a little bit, because it just brought our program not only to the other side of the country or to other countries, but also to the other side of kind of the house, because we could involve neighbors with digital means.
So we had a very, very suffocating bad year so far. We didn't even have a proper New Year's party due to the COVID, so I don't want to remember that. And also, we are still in the middle of an ecological crisis as well, and the political one. And I really don't want to think about politics anymore, so I will get rid of this shirt too.
And what I really learned from the idea of freedom, what is freedom? As freedom means to deal with a free mind with fixed circumstances. It's not only about changing circumstances, but the first thing is dealing with them and changing the meaning of them.
And also here in Hungary, we had a quite difficult year because our slightly authoritarian government. So I will get rid of these two. Yeah. You know, academic freedom was attacked, and also lately the LGBT community, so I don't want to remember that anymore.
And that's how we dealt with the virus and also with this collaboration. And then the project ended.
But we still hope that it will go on in Nova Gorica.
Absolutely. No, we do.
We hope because it's really opening new visions. It's opening new reflections on freedom, actually. Each of us could find how this word freedom has no value or has different values as we thought some years ago.
When I hear this word, I'm thinking again, like it's so vague and it's so like, yeah, so often used in different ideologies. Like what we were trying to do was somehow to see, yeah, these different discourses it's used also, especially since the system changed in 1989. It's used a lot by neoliberal structures, freedom of market and blah, blah. And what we try to do in our practice is somehow like to see also like how to work together and approach something else than these circumstances, these fixed circumstances that Andreas or Studio Tårnby was mentioning. And like how to be working together and be free.
It's a real break. You can get up, go to pee, have a cigarette, drink some beers or water, refresh yourself.
Well, I mean, the project per se was forced into a kind of like free association of TV-related ideas, so to say. And we had these different wings of the project per se. Everybody did his own thing in a way, pretty much isolated because of Corona. So a lot of people never met. And for us, the Leipzig wing, I mean, we were the last ones with the pretty vague, but still alive hopes of doing a live event. So we, as the last one, we decided, okay, we have to go TV as well. So then we shifted a lot of things into video productions because we had these music productions already, and then at the end made a TV show. So, which turned out to be nice. It was an interesting work, but also at the end we were forced to do it. So it was not the original idea. So it was an interesting situation in a mix of voluntarily getting forced, so to say.
This moment of system changes was, I think, at least for me, a ghostly thing, because in many ways I felt that we are back in that moment when right before the system change. So it's like in many aspects what we live now here, at least in Hungary, is similar to the Kádárist era, to the deep not the deep 𝗘𝗟𝗘𝗖𝗧, but the one that already went towards market economy. So there was this relative freedom, this feeling of, you know, you can almost go wherever you want. You can get the world passport from 1988. You could get it, and you could go shopping to Austria and get stuff for you. But at the same time, it's there is some, you know, the old structures, these heavy structures of state totalitarianism are there. And if you look at our situation now in Hungary, it's very similar. And we had this ghostly feeling, I think, that, that was a starting point, that we are in a way back into that moment that of deep, like coming out of deep 𝗘𝗟𝗘𝗖𝗧ism, and before something that we would, you know, think or wish or consider system change. So it's also, the project was for us also to reimagine what a system change would be now, if it happens. And yeah, to prepare for that by going back in time, traveling back and taking some stuff out that happened there and that maybe is forgotten by now or interesting for us now, and to dig out these things.
TV Europe, für mich ein Zungenbrecher, aber ein wunderbares Projekt, wo wir plötzlich mit viel Glück mit wunderbaren jungen Leuten zusammenarbeiten können, die das Studio Oberwart praktisch gegründet, die das aufgebaut haben, die sich hier bemüht haben, Studiogespräche, Talkshows zu machen.
At this point, I would also maybe mention your mottos, because your mottos are very intelligent and very funny in a way. We took one for our workshop, working with students on the topic fear-free.
Close your eyes and fly.
I found this motto very accurate and very actual, because one of the questions of freedom is also connected, I think, to being free from fear. Are you fear-free?
For me, I think why this motto was also interesting for us is this, fear politics. I mean, we see it here, like, as Orban also learned it from Finkelstein somewhere when he switched his policy, like that he needs a declared enemy, and like how paranoid politics became and based on these fear principles. I think that's also like, especially, I mean, that's an old principle, it repeats. I mean, also Hitler made that already, or whatever.
Yeah,
but now it's everywhere and very present, and I have a very apocalyptic feeling at the moment for some time now. Yeah, it's getting just worse. I mean, I feel like we are really at the turning point, and we are still, I also wonder, like, now what's the next step for myself in the artist, either to do art or what to do actually, like how to do something, like how to directly act. We were just writing an article about art and activism actually, also connected to our work, and it's really a question like, how do you, like, a lot of art people are still like discussing, like we do now, discussing important things, but still there's no other level to that, or like concrete idea how could it really add something to another layer. What can we actually make? I mean, for me that's just a question, because I think like these global things at the moment, I mean, they were also like, it's of course like the world is not just now starting to turn, but like now it's just, I mean, the extremes are getting really crazy right now, I think, in climate, and the climate is political, and it's the weather, and the forecast doesn't seem too good.
Yeah. Yes, I completely agree with you. We are talking and talking and talking about climate changes and about how we will save this and save that, but we can't even save the Palestinian people, you know, which is a very small question. A very simple solution it would be for the world. and we are talking about saving the world, saving the nature, which it's really ridiculous. And I think nothing will change if we don't change the system in basics.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we talk about fear and everything, because I feel like there's this sort of feeling of inescapable doom that's kind of just hanging over everyone. Like, yeah, we're all going to be, unemployed and poor, and we won't even have like enough money to have children and everything. And it's better that we don't have children because everything is going so bad and everything. And this is a very common sentiment that I see among people more my age, let's say. And yeah, it's just a lot of fears about the future, because we basically have our whole lives in front of us. And if I cycle back a little bit to the point about fear and politics and everything, also it's very important that we talk about fear, that we center our discussions, our artworks around it, because I feel like the moment you make someone afraid, you can convince them to accept many things that they otherwise wouldn't.
So, how to follow my own expectations and not others? How to follow, how to follow how to follow my own expectations and not others?
Yes, this is a really important question, that we have to follow our own expectations to liberate ourselves. So I would suggest that maybe every morning for 5 minutes, you sit down, you close your eyes, you breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, out. And while you are doing this, you think of your own expectations.
I mean, I feel like, consequences of that a bit extra as a member of LGBT community, because there's always fear-mongering against us, and we can see where it leads to. And basically, I think that if we learn to approach fears in a rational manner instead of emotional, seeking, the fastest, easiest, most cathartic solution immediately, I think this would solve many problems that we have today, including this whole, feeling of impending doom that I mentioned with my generation.
We are all love with breathing. We are all love with air. So let's unite in breathing for the first time in the TV show history, because unification is just what we need.
My feeling is that fear manifests, for example, in a pretty strong nationalism and an idea of exception, and an idea of it will not hit us, which leads to very avant-garde migrant politics in a very negative sense, as basically a copy of the Hungarian model. Yes, as the total avant-garde is maybe Orban, but this combined with this idea of exception, I think in Denmark there is this idea that we do everything right and good, and there's also a lot of fear around that, because obviously we're not fearless enough to share what we have. We are not fearless enough to open our borders. We're not fearless enough. We are not right enough to really embrace problems or differences, but we just solve them on our little land. And I think this is something I personally really fear. one thing is losing your freedom, and then you jump into a situation where you protect the freedom only for yourself, which is also not freedom.
Nationalism and urban model is, I think, very, very popular in Slovenia. We are going towards. I think these are the problems in the whole Europe. I don't know if these borders, these COVID borders, are not the ones that protect us from the foreigners. Maybe we really have to rethink art as it is, because also art has been in the system, surveillance capitalism.
The first things that comes to my mind when I hear what you say is that actually how great or super it feels if we can do something where we, for example, we just give support to somebody or to each other without any, calculating what it means for us. And I'm also thinking about it because you said, what can we do as artists? And I was searching in my head for that moment also in the project. And in the show that we made in Budapest, it was for me the best thing that we made this New Year's thing, New Year's show, where we invited people to close the year together with us. And I very much enjoyed that frame, that we gather together to do something like that.
So I would like to develop my prefrontal cortex to work because I'm quite like absent-minded, and this is a very challenging situation for me. So this is one thing. And the other thing is that I would like to, thank you. And the other thing I would like to learn Python, the program, like coding, because it's so cool.
What is Python?
Yeah, during menopause, I'm getting to be like 50 in 2 years, and I think it's so cool, to code. And also I started to roller skate, and I would like to improve my roller skate skills also in a year. So.
Woo. And where it's not just about people coming to watch a show, which we prepared for them, but we didn't prepare. I mean, we prepared a lot, but actually it wasn't prepared in many ways. And I really liked that we could deal with that in such an openness that finally, when audience members were, for example, asked to to make New Year's resolutions, because we closed down the year, and for that we like everybody usually makes something resolution-like that I will change next year, so that these moments when they went on the stage also and told what they would change, and or also other moments when the show the TV magic, for example, didn't function. And suddenly it wasn't awkward at all. It was really nice, the atmosphere, that somehow I didn't feel those borders so close. I was able to get to others in a different way than just in a normal communicative situation, when I more and more feel that actually there's always this exchange thing between, or exchange value, or even in a normal communication, what do you give, what do you get, and how does it work, this whole economy of communication also.
Go into a cooler 2022. Happy New Year, Juli! Lépjétek át a küszöböt, come on! Let's have a new year and a happy cool. Everybody can get in the fridge. Come if you feel like. Have a cool 2021. Happy New Year, Cynthia. I want a champagne. Have a happy New Year. Nah, I'm freaking out. Have a cool year. Quick. 2022, it will be cool.
Yeah, it's great that you mentioned this, not without calculation. This is something we should learn.
Yeah, but like to be together in an open situation, and that's what's interesting for us. But we also don't know as when we create this frame that what will happen, because there are other people and we try out to be together there somewhere and see which kind of energies we can share also or make flow in an openness.
But with the show it's great because the show must go on always. So that's the thing. That okay, it's an open situation, but at the same time, you know, it becomes a common thing that the show goes on, and that's very fun.
I just want to add to that I think what you describe now as an artistic kind of attitude or ethics towards your own work and how you framed your own work, that's something I experienced also in the collaboration cross-border and in the whole collaboration between all the partners, where I had the feeling that you created a possibility for us a way of involvement and on a self-responsible basis that gave me a real freedom to connect in the way I wanted, or I found it not only that I wanted, but I could find the way that really suited to the place and the people that were in our place to connect with what you do and the others. I felt, except now in the closing of the project, where it is really about strict deadlines, I didn't feel time pressure. I felt always an openness towards changes. You never played the blame game or the guilt game, and that's something that, you know, that's extremely valuable. That creates a place where you really feel that you can be and act appropriate to what's necessary and right. And sometimes you were sending gifts to us. Once we got a fantastic gift with I think 50 sheets of paper of a beautiful picture you made for us for the Tårnby Park studio, and just, you know, without agreement about it or without an outspoken expectation to get something similar back. Also, I think there's something about the ethics of solidarity that you proposed and that you transported into the project that I really think, whatever happens in the future, without ignoring it, but I'm saying this is giving me a hope. Like if I can collaborate and be together with people like this, at least we can create amongst these people something that has value and that has a substance.
Yeah, thank you, Andreas, for these words. I felt the same. And I also once said to Sarah that I think that we know each other like for 10 years, that we have so many things together, but we didn't even met at that time. We met at the end of the project. Yeah, TVFE Europe really established this community feeling, this collaboration without expecting anything, that everybody gives what's the best possible without expecting. I think the core group that we worked with felt the same. What do you think, Kostja?
Yeah, I agree that, this core group, the group that we worked in 2020, and the main actors in, let's say, this latest edition, I think we all had this very strong sense of collaboration and community. I think that this feeling of community and collaboration is very important to spread to other projects, to really try to have it in everything that we do, because otherwise expectations and feeling like you're owing someone or that someone owes you, and everything can really affect dynamics of any group negatively and everything. And also, I really enjoy that the whole project has this more satirical note, because I think that's a very important part is just to not take yourself too seriously. And yeah, I think this helps with such a friendly atmosphere as well.
That's why it feels so strange to represent the project always, like here now at Ars Electronica, super important festival where you can sell your art. And I always feel by these frames totally like alienated from the project to talk about it even. Because it's really like coming into this, yes, now you have to, like, yeah, like how do you deal with these situations, like the
Let's sell our art.
Yeah.
Let's see what's here from the ruins of the project. Yeah. Oh, isn't it a little nice piece? Oh, I like it very much. Yes.
Because I think like a lot of this artwork, like on one hand, yeah, super conscious about these topics, but at the same time, how the whole art market works is we are very like what you said, not even neoliberal, but the next step, surveillance, control, and whatever together. And like the values of the, yeah, like how do we actually speak about art in between, like here is like, I don't know, or for me, I feel just this kind of like, I don't know, I'm very suspicious always about these frames and how to make them that they don't incorporate these neoliberal things. Maybe so like what I found interesting in the project still was these different fears. We had two in, but I also like was the fear of missing out and the fear of boredom, which in the Slovenian seminary we found, which some students said also, which I found interesting, that these are the contemporary fears we have are very present.
Yeah. One note about boredom, the fear of boredom. I think that's a main practice in Tårnby Park Studio, is to be bored and to wait and to be at the place really for a long time, for hours, and not knowing what's going to happen. As last year when we were in this really complete lockdown, that was actually our own possibility to make live performance without an expected audience, was basically to be outside waiting for something to happen, for somebody to come, with an kind of endless gesture of invitation and an endless opening to invite and to connect to anybody who would come. And that sounds contradictory, but that's a very productive way of being in an artistic production, is to go to the place where you're really bored and you don't force the entertainment to happen. It will happen soon enough. It made me actually really be coming into a state of being entertained by boredom. And yeah, I think that's really something very precious to me, actually. It kind of also, you can read it as something opposed to this production imperative, or this success imperative, or this imperative of functioning. So I'm glad you mentioned boredom. Just want to say that.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is something what we really miss, because we can't even calm down our minds anymore, you know, because we all the time have to be involved in some activity. So I think this is a very good artistic discipline to be bored. A Turkish artist who worked in Germany, and she made a really, really big project with a sheep on Rhine, and they asked her how she succeeded to do this. And she said, because we Turks are somehow used to not doing anything, and I have a lot of time to think.
Yeah, if you don't, like, you become a machine, I think, like if you are not bored, because then you need for a subject of thinking about the objects, yeah, connected to that, what you said just, I think you need the time. And if you don't have this, if you are constantly with the objects, then you become the objects. You are not, you can't put yourself in a distance anymore, I think, like to reflect about, and then you are not a thinking individual, like a autonomous or like a responsible, like or subject anymore, but you are just like with the objects, with your desires all the time, running behind the time, doing your works, you're consuming time, work, objects, people, artists, I don't know.
And I would go further and say that actually TV was, I think TV was very important in teaching us to do that, to run after these things, because TV, look, TV is a machine that keeps you, keeps you busy, gives you images, gives you action, without you actually having to do anything. So it's this pseudo action that also many theoreticians like Virilio talked about, that TV is actually about this tele-activity, or even, let's say, passivity in this televised way, that you stay at home, enjoy your stay there, and actually you still feel busy somehow, kept busy. And actually our everyday life is a bit like conditioned by this TV, like sitting in front of a TV, or now just we have to carry the TV, let's say, in us or with us. We are projecting things, things are projected to us, and we actually many times just lose sense of doing things. And so, yeah, that's the televised way of living for us, I think.
Yeah, the permanent flow,
Ah, he disappeared.
Yeah, Studio Tårnby disappeared.
Or do you still want to talk about the show? Because
yes, I think you should announce the
so about the show.
Yeah, I mean, I know I could talk a little bit about how we filmed the thing and prepared for it. Because okay, yeah,
I can add something.
So yeah, things were actually everything. The preparations were online, and we actually didn't prepare much. The way I like to work is to have enough space to improvise and everything. So we had some ideas, some guidelines and everything, and then we went, and the whole show was centered around the idea of fear. So we did some interviews around Nova Gorica with people about fear, and actually we were very pleasantly surprised because the people gave us very thoughtful answers, and we didn't expect that. Then, yeah, as for the actual filming, this is when Sarah and Jasna actually came, and they decided to just leave us there, not be any sort of authorities that would command us what to do. And we recorded some sketches and we came up with some of them on spot. We were just trying to get into that feeling of satirical news segments. Yeah, and then there was also some goofing around, as it should be.
It was really a very pleasant pedagogical process. As Kostja said, the students who were really involved in could get something out of it. The tasks were so open, and so it was so much space for reflection, for thinking. Also, the process itself, beside the end project, was a good experience because there is not a lot of space for discussion anymore. There was really space for the students, and really also for us to learn from the students something which basically was in a way possible through this online process. We couldn't have the real workshop on spot, but it lasts more because the workshop would be like one week here and 1 week there, and we would be limited in time.
I mean, we made the course with Jasna and we're gonna meet all. I mean, I'm gonna meet them for the first time ever. Not online.
For me, it was also very cool to work with the group.
Yeah, there's no money anymore for this thing here. We have to end now, sorry.
No budget. No budget.
Yeah, I take this cam. I still need it for my holiday. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, so thinking this, what is TV, what potential it has together. Like I also felt we are not teaching, we are rather seeing a situation which happens with this Corona thing, which is a new thing, at least in our sphere. And then like, yeah, how can we meet online? What can we do out of it? How to do TV? And then you pick the topic of fear-free.
Yeah, otherwise for students, I guess, I would say that this project also really kind of pushed us to think outside of the box and to get more into, you know, experimental waters. And I know that many people from our university have this very perfectionist approach to things, like the green screen must be perfect and everything. And we finally decided to, you know, embrace a bit more intentionally bad aesthetic. And yeah, I think it did help us to, you know, free ourselves, be more creative regardless of, you know, this general conventions and perfectionism. Like,
yes, it's
that's
also for
yeah.
me that was sorry.
No, that's a step. It's cool, yeah.
And for us, I mean, we're working for 10 years with recycling trash, recycling ideas, recycling time, like building, or I mean, recycle is even such a green word, but like to just play with these things which surround us, do some magic shit with that. But then it was really shocking, like when I think for students who saw the video of the show, it was like, what is that? Like, because yeah, we are used to clean surfaces, clean screens. It's like everywhere. The aesthetics are not broken. Everything needs to be shiny, new.
Yeah, everything is
newly bought, best technical, up to date. Like, and
I call this generic aesthetics. This so-called universal storytelling. These are the questions that were also opened with this workshop. Suddenly, you know, there was no like guidelines how to use light, how to use green screen, as Kostja said, but to invent how to use the failure. As we know in art, the new things came with failures. In a process, failure brought something new. So I think that students have a lot of possibilities to experiment, to also to make failures and not just to search the perfect result with the tasks, as if they would like work for some company already, not for the school or their development.
You have to, it's like taking apart a clock to find out how it works, to just deconstruct it and go wild with it. Though I guess I have a little bit of, you know, I've never had this very strong, everything has to be naturalistic, because I really enjoy the more, let's say, 70s and 80s stuff, which can be quite experimental. And like certain, you know, inspirations that we took for the shows were also like Andy Warhol TV and everything were a bit more unusual and not, or TV Party, not that good in terms of technical aspect. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool what already Andreas said, that there was no prescription, okay, but just not to be completely generic. This is the only, you know, like the only rule, which is nice, because the world with this corporational marketing aesthetic became really one vision only.
I mean, yeah, now I'm also like just connecting all these things come together now somehow. That is have our like how, yeah, this is like how clean and empty these aesthetics are, what you learn often in the university through this objectivity. being technical ready. You have to know everything before, pitch your idea. Of course, the film business, you need to be ready with everything before, otherwise it will be a big chaos.
For me, what was
but on the other hand, that's also like then life is killed by this, and thinking is killed by it, and that something really happens is killed by it, because you have to know in the projecting, like the word says, like Video was already writing 𝗘𝗟𝗘𝗖𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗜 to throw in front of you. You throw the project in front of you already, like you screen it on your, but then there is no life anymore. I mean, that's now a short thing, but like that's somehow.
Yeah, I think, but this is especially happening in film. I think the visuals are prescripted somehow. And then on the other hand, we have these new hybrid art forms, which are chaotic. I hope they stay like this. Again, we come to the question, what is expected from you? Because I think with the art market, there are expectations. What is selling? Okay. You should not completely avoid it because you have to survive, but somehow maybe you can even
carve your own nation.
Yes, and also to keep the free mind.
Yeah, and it all comes back to the theme of fear. Like we're afraid of branching out, we're afraid of thinking outside of the box, we're afraid of diverging from these norms that we're taught and that are expected of us. Yeah.
Fear is logical, you know, it's human, and it's a part of the bravery. You can't be brave if you do not feel fear. You know, you have to be, you can't escape from the fear. You can't, you should not fear the fear, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest fear, that you lose the fear of the fear.
I just want to show this towards the end, that when you were talking about all this, I thought how it's great that you finally can see what's forbidden. And yeah, like many times we don't know that this or this is forbidden, and at least it's really cool that in our TV show we could play with this and show this, and then yeah, we can also show it like this. So yeah. It turns, it moves, it goes out. And it was really good to have a machine for that. Like the TV, it's really nice. Yeah, because actually this perfection or the quality, the word that we use for quality in art, it actually comes from it's the same as we want from the machine. The failure which is built in a machine is not visible. That actually you have the inputs, what functions does the machine have to know, and you have these expectations also when you see art, and when we speak about quality, it's many times just very, very similar. So yeah.
So I have a nice online festival.
Let's hope that the project goes on, and I really appreciate it, and I would love to be a part of it in the future.
Same here. Same here.
For all the inspiration and the cool common time.
Okay.
And you can check the project on TV-free-Europe.eu.